Welcome back and thank you for staying with All Angles. Now, City Power says it received over 2,000 call logs reporting power outages yesterday alone. But the utility wasn't able to attend to most of these calls due to heavy rains and flooded roads. Let's get an update now from City Power's spokesperson, Mangena. Thank you very much, Isaac, for your time here on eNCA. So today, it's not raining outside, particularly in Johannesburg. How are things looking in terms of the calls that you received? Have you been able to sort most of the issues out?
Thanks for having us, Marcelo, and good afternoon to the viewers at home. Yes, at least today the weather gods are on our side. We are able to basically deal with some of the backlogs that we have been having. We woke up this morning dealing with about 3,500 outage calls, and most of those have been logged in the past day, and it was purely because of the weather, the inclement weather that we were suffering yesterday on Monday and even on Sunday evening. So, but at least our teams are able to do some of the backlogs and planned maintenance backlog, but also in some areas we're able to also do even the planned maintenance, because remember, when it's raining and also during load shedding, it gets difficult for us to basically do some of this maintenance, and that's why we've got a lot of breakdowns across the city of Johannesburg. But we're hoping that the weather will be like this for the next few days, so that at least we can deal with some of the problems that we are having.
Isaac, what are your plans in terms of mitigating what's going to happen in the winter season? Because I remember during an interview here on eNCA, you explained that the higher the stages of load shedding are, the more the calls you get for outages, right? We are expecting, and we have been told by the Minister of Electricity, that in the next 150 days, it might go over stage 6. So do you have anything planned to mitigate, worse things happening in the city of Johannesburg?
The truth of the matter is we are not able to keep up with the stages of load shedding. The higher stages of load shedding means that we are obviously not able to provide electricity to the residents of the city of Johannesburg as we should. So it means half the time we're not able to provide that electricity. But it also means that most of our residents will basically have to contend with at least 4. Some people have gone for 8 hours without electricity because of this load shedding. So sometimes you have to switch people off for at least 4 hours. However, as City Power, because of load shedding is not something new, we had already started with the plans to ensure that we mitigate against the problems that load shedding is bringing for our operations. But also because of every year, winter without fail will come, and as such, we developed what we call a winter strategy every year to ensure that at least we are able to deal with this. And this basically entails ensuring that we pump in extra resources, both human and even financial resources, to basically respond accordingly to some of the problems that we're having. We always have situations where our mini substations blow up, the cables get stolen, they also blow up as well. And so part of that is basically to ensure that we've got material to respond to some of these. Every day we are losing about 7 mini substations. We replace about 7 mini substations across the city of Johannesburg. That is 600,000 per mini substation. And so part of what we're doing in terms of this mitigation strategies is to basically ensure that we basically have enough equipment, enough material, but also enough boots on the ground to respond accordingly to the demand during winter season. But load shedding is not really assisting us because of it still means that the problems that we're facing during load shedding, including cable theft and vandalism, will continue. And also the fact that our infrastructure on their own was never meant to be switched on and off. But add winter to that, it means that we're basically having it the hard way.
Yeah, it's going to be a very hard way. And I still want you to share with us, because you haven't really answered my question, share with us what the mitigating plans could be besides maintenance. But let me move on to a statement that you released this morning, seemingly a warning to residents that City Power will no longer respond to calls about outages for residents who specifically don't pay. And then there's also customers defaulting, including customers with non-vending machines or meters, rather. How are you going to be able to do this? Because if you're going to say that you're not going to answer to calls of customers about outages are in an area, isn't it unfair if, for instance, there are residents who pay and then they too will get punished for residents who don't pay?
Thanks for that question. I was gonna So basically, what we want to do here, and it's something that we really should not even be, debating with the residents, because this is their responsibility. We provide electricity, we buy electricity from Eskom, and then we provide it to the residents, and they need to pay for that electricity. But you've got a situation currently where most of the residents of the city of Johannesburg do not pay for this electricity, do not buy electricity. Some of them have actually bypassed the meters, and some of them have disconnected themselves, so they are illegally connected to our network. So what we are saying is that, and remember, we are in the red in terms of our finances. 10 billion rands is sitting out there in terms of revenue that has not been collected, and we want to make sure that we basically start forcing people to pay for electricity, or else we might as well not respond when they call. To answer your question about the area outages, so what we do, and which is what Eskom is also doing, in an area outage where we've got a feeder port providing the whole suburb, or at least a mini substation that is out providing the whole street. What we're doing is that at least 60 to 70% of those customers should be able to pay. Then we will respond. Eskom is already doing that in most areas, including in Soweto, but even across the country, whereby wherever they have to respond and they realize that they are not actually making money out of those areas, they need to basically check if the majority of the people that are feeding from the faulty equipment are actually buying before they can respond. And that's basically what we're doing. We have already written a letter to the community of Mangena, which has been refusing our teams recently to come in to audit the meters, that we are not going to respond to the outages from the 12th of May if they do not basically allow us to come in and ensure that they pay for electricity.
So it's as soon as the 12th of May. So an entire area will be punished. So that means residents also have to try and speak to each other to pay for their bills. Yes or no?
Yes, indeed. And the thing about Mangena is that the majority of the residents, they want to pay, but you find that the leadership, those who claim to be the leaders of the community, are the ones who always, not holding the end of their deal. They will agree with us that they will basically come and pay for electricity, but then when we come and with the teams to install meters, they basically don't want us to do so. So we are going to basically ensure that, and unfortunately, others will basically suffer because of the actions of the few.
Exactly. Well, thank you for speaking to us, Isaac Mangena. He's the spokesperson for City Power. All right.